Hi, Jason Hall, GQue Barbecue. Drinking out of a pineapple is cool, but what is also cool is being able to eat out of a pineapple. Today I'm going to show you a recipe. It's going to be sweet, it's going to be spicy, it's going to be tropical, and best of all, it's going to be delicious. If you want to see how we do that, it's coming up right now. So on this channel, we're all about cooking with live fire. If that's something that interests you, smash down that subscription button and also hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when all of our videos come out. So the inspiration for today's video comes from when we shot the hangover cure video. If you haven't seen that yet and you're looking for the perfect drink if you have a hangover, go ahead and push that iCard up above and watch that video. So in that video we made a drink and drank it out of a pineapple. I was wondering, what can we make to eat out of a pineapple? So in doing some research, I found chicken teriyaki was commonly served out of a pineapple. So today we're going to put our twist on a very common chicken teriyaki dish. We're going to make some coconut rice. We're going to give our chicken a little bit of kick, and then we're going to serve it out of this pineapple. I am using chicken thighs today. They're boneless and skinless. I prefer the flavor of dark meat chicken over white meat. I also think it takes on the marinade a lot better, and it's a lot more forgiving during the cooking process. So we're going to get these chicken thighs marinated in a spicy ginger teriyaki marinade. I went ahead and bought this from the store. However, you can make your own. So this is a nice full flavor marinade that's going to taste great on the chicken and really complement that coconut rice. I'm also going to reserve a little bit of the marinade to save for basting towards the end of the cook. So today's cook is actually going to be the very first cook on this Weber kettle. This is a 22.5 inch kettle. I just went out and got it last week, so I'm pretty excited to do more cooks on this. The first thing we're going to do is get our charcoal lit. We're using hard lump charcoal that we're starting in the chimney. Once it gets lit all the way to the top, I'm going to go ahead and dump it into the bottom grate of the Weber kettle. To make the coconut rice, the first thing I'm going to do is take 1 can of coconut milk, add that along with 1.5 cups of water to an aluminum pan. Coconut milk will harden at room temperature, so I'm going to set it on the Weber kettle to heat it up so that it will melt down into a liquid before I add the rice. But now that the coconut milk has melted down and formed a liquid, that's going to be our base for our rice. To that, I'm going to add 2 cups of long grain white rice and a little bit of kosher salt. I'm then going to return it back to the pit till it forms a boil, and then we'll take it off, wrap it in aluminum foil for 15 minutes to let the rice finish its cooking. While the rice is cooking, we're going to go ahead and get the pineapple prepared. We're going to take a whole ripe pineapple. You can tell it's ripe because there's some yellow in here. In an unripe pineapple, it's going to be 100% green, but you can see on the bottom of these little pentagon almost looking things, you can see a little bit of yellow there, and coming up from the bottom you can see some yellow. So I know this is a good ripe pineapple. We're going to make an incision right down the middle, then we're going to core out the inside so we can have somewhere to put the rice and chicken. We're also going to cut up some of that inside pineapple into little pieces and use that in the dish as well too. You can see this pulp, I guess, is running right down the center of the pineapple. That's an inedible part. So for our pieces that we're going to eat, we're going to cut just outside of that pulp. So these 2 pineapples have been cored and they're ready for some chicken teriyaki and some coconut rice. So now that the rice is boiling, I'm going to remove it from the high heat, stir it up, wrap it in aluminum foil, and allow it about 15 minutes to absorb up all that wonderful coconut flavor. Something you'll hear me harping on all the time is when grilling, we always got to keep our grate extremely clean, and we also got to keep our grate extremely wet. I'm using a little bit of oil to just keep the grate level wet, and that's going to allow us to move the meat around and keep it nice and clean and not impart any unnatural flavors into our cook. So we've got our chicken thighs that have been marinating here for about 30 minutes in this spicy ginger teriyaki. We're just going to put these on the grill and we're going to cook them until they reach an internal temperature of 165 degrees. So since this guy has the perfect color on it, I'm going to go ahead and take its temp. I think it's going to be pretty close to about 165 once we get into the middle. There we go. We're actually at 172 is where we topped out right there. So this is exactly what we're going for. We hit 165. We didn't go too high. I don't want to get them up past 185 because then they'll start drying out. So this one topped out at 172. We got good color on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one from the grill. I'm going to continue that process for the remaining 5 thighs. Oh, this is something I wish you guys could smell right now. It smells so good. All those caramelized sugars, the teriyaki, the ginger, the fire smells awesome. So now that the chicken's done, it's reached that 165-degree temperature. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it into little bite-sized pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into a brand new aluminum tray. If you remember, I reserved some of that marinade earlier in the process. This is why. I'm gonna go ahead and pour it over the chicken and return it back to the kettle so we can get some really good caramelization on all sides of the chicken thighs. So the pineapples are now filled with the coconut rice, the beautiful spicy chicken teriyaki, a little bit of that pineapple from inside the pineapple. We garnish the chicken with some sesame seeds. You can also garnish it with some green onions. However, I'm not a big fan of the green onions, so we use the lime instead. So only one thing left to do at this point. Now for my favorite part, the taste test. Take me to the islands. That was absolutely fantastic. What a beautiful presentation the grilled pineapple makes. It's sure to impress your family and friends. I love the flavor of the coconut rice. The chicken teriyaki was exploding with all kinds of wonderful flavors that we got by continuously basting the meat as it cooked and by also putting it on there for that final 10-15 seconds to caramelize it with the reserved marinade. And the fresh pineapple, doesn't get any fresher than that, was absolutely delicious. This is definitely something I would make for small gatherings at the house. If that looked good, if that's something you want to try, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, Jason Ganal, GQue Barbecue.